2, 2.7, number 17. So we're taking a look at number 17, and we're using our substitution method here to solve each system of equations. We have 3 equations with 3 variables. Now, each equation I've listed in a different color, and I've just put A, B, and C. The only reason I put that is as we go through the problem to help you follow along. So instead of referencing an entire equation, I can just say equation A. All right, it's just so we have a reference point to move this along. All right, so remember, in the first step, the first thing I have to do on substitution is I want to solve for Z. So I'm going to look at the equation, pick one out, and go, okay, which equation can I use to solve for Z? And I'm going to go ahead and just use this equation right here. Okay, and I want to solve for Z, get Z by itself. So my equation then is 2x minus y plus Z equals -1. So to get Z by itself, right, I want to set Z by itself, so I need to isolate this variable so that I end up with Z equals something. So I have 2x, so I'm going to subtract 2x because I need to move it to the other side. Okay, and that will cancel the term on this side. And since I have a negative y and I want to cancel this term out, I need to add y. So I'm going to say plus y. So then I've created a new equation for Z. So then Z is going to equal -1 minus 2x plus y. And that's my equation for Z. So take a moment, pause the video and look at that and make sure you can understand how I solve for Z, and then we'll move forward. Okay, so let's take a look at our next step. Let's take a look, and we'll say we're looking at step 2, right? And so in step 2, I'm going to combine equations. So I'm just going to pull out one of my equations, and I'm going to decide I'm going to pull out this equation here, equation A. And I'm going to use that equation in step 2. And I'm going to say x plus 2y minus 2z equals -8. And now remember, this is a substitution. So since I found z, because remember what I did is I solved for z, so that I gave z a value. Just like if z was just a simple value like 3 or 2 or x is 5, whatever. I just gave z a value, but instead of z being some simple number like 3, z is a whole series of things. So now z is -1, -2x plus y. So theoretically that's the answer for z. Okay, that's kind of what we're saying. So instead of it being a simple number like 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, it's a little more complex, but that would be in essence the answer for z. So now I'm going to take this equation, in step 2, and I'm going to say x plus 2y minus 2, okay, and then I'm going to fill in z, right? Oops, let me make that a little bit better. I'm going to plug this in, all right, this is z here. So I'm going to plug that equation in for z and say -1 minus 2x plus y, okay? And then I still have my equals 18 that I have to put in here. So it equals -8 because I still have to get that in there. Okay? So hopefully you see kind of where that came from. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to just drop everything down because I'm going to end up needing to factor. So I'm going to, all of this will get dropped down. Okay. So that I still have x plus 2y minus, okay, but the minus, actually, let me pull this out right now. I'm just going to drop those down because sign could change based on what happens. All right, so now where do I go? Well, I have to factor all this out. So I'm going to take negative 2 times a negative 1, right? So the negative times the negative and the negative is a positive, and 2 times 1 is 2, so plus 2. Then I'm going to say 2 times negative 2x, where the negative and the negative becomes a positive, and then the 2 times the 2x is 4x. Now I'm going to take it a third time. I'm going to take my negative 2 times positive y. Well, the negative times the positive makes this a negative, and then the 2 times the y makes this, okay, the 2 times the y makes this a 2y equals negative 8. All right, so now I have plugged z in, and then I factored it out. So I'm left with this longer equation that I wrote in purple, that is x plus 2y plus 2 plus 4x minus 2y equals negative 8. So now I want to combine like terms. So I want to look for my x's. There's an x. And there's an x. One thing I always kind of forget to mention or put in there, I want to always remember to put in, I want to always add the positive or negative sign that precedes the number, right? So that I know that I'm dealing with a positive. And then I find my other like terms for y. Okay. Did it again. Okay, 2y. All right. So all my like terms are there. And then I have, of course, positive 2 and negative 8 that are alike. Do you see that? So, but I need to get them together. They're on opposite sides, so I need to get them buddied up. So I'm going to subtract 2 so that I remove the term from the left side of the equation and I add it to the right side of the equation. Okay, or put it in the right side of the equation as a negative 2. So now I'm going to I'm going to just put my terms together. So I have x and plus 4x is going to give me a 5x. Okay, and then I have 2y minus 2y. So that eliminates that term completely, doesn't it? So all I have then is a 0y. So that term is eliminated. And then it's going to equal my negative 8 minus 2 is a negative 10. So what I'm left with now is 5x equals negative 10. And I want to get x by itself. So I'm going to divide out the 5 so that x equals 2. I'm sorry, negative 2. Can't forget that, because 5 in the net is a negative 10, and positive divided into negative is a negative, so it's a negative 2. Okay, so that takes care of step 2 for me, right? All right, so let's take a look now, and we're going to create step 3. So I have, when you look at this, I've used equation A. I used equation B at the very beginning in step 1 to find Z. So now all I'm left with is one more equation to go through before I really start combining everything. And then, so C is going to be negative x plus 3y plus 2z equals 13. So again, I need to take and plug in z. Okay? I need to plug in equation z for z. So I'm going to say negative x plus 3y plus 2z, whoops, okay, plus 2z, where z is up here, all right, this is z. So then where z is negative 1 minus 2x plus y. And then I still have my equals 13. So I have to say equals 13. All right? And then again, I'm going to drop it down. Negative x plus 3y plus, now I do my factoring, right? 2 times negative 1. I'm going to go 2 times negative 1, which is, oops, just 1. So that's going to make this a minus 2. And then I'm going to have 2 times negative 2x, which is going to make this a negative 4x. Then I have 2 times y, and it's positive. So it's going to make that a plus y. And this is all going to be equal to 13. So again, I want to combine like terms. So I have my x, okay, or I should say my negative x, and I have my negative 4x. And then I have my other like term, which is going to be my positive 3y and my positive y. And then my last like term is negative 2 and 13, right? Negative 2 and 13. So what I want to do now is I want to add 2 to both sides, because I want to eliminate the term from here. All right, so what I end up with now in my equation is negative x plus 3y. Well, I'm sorry, let me go back. I scratch that. I need to add my terms. I apologize. I need to add negative x and negative 4x, which is going to give me a negative 5x. And then I need to take and I'm going to combine my positive 3y and my positive y. Oh, I need to back up. When I put this together, it's 2 times y, so that should actually be a positive 2y. Should be 2y. Let me rewrite that. Let me clean that up a little bit. Plus 2y. Okay, so back where we're at. So I combined the green circles, the negative x and the negative 4x. Now I'm going to combine my red circles, positive 3y and positive 2y, right? 3y, 2y. So that's going to give me a plus 5y. And all of that is going to be equal to 13 and 2 which is 15. So I want to take a look at this, and I can see that one thing they all have in common is the number 5. So I can take take 5 and 5. Then I end up with a 5 into 5 is, 5 goes into 5 once, 5 into 5 once, so I end up with negative 1x, or I'll just say negative x, plus 5 goes into 5 once, 5 into 5 once, so leaves me with 1y, or I can just say y equals, and then I have 5, and it goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 15 3 times, so 1 into 3 is 3, so I end up with 3. So then I've eliminated z, because remember, that's the whole point in this, is to eliminate z. So I've eliminated z, and I have negative x plus y equals 3. So that's the whole point in these first couple steps, is to get rid of one of the variables. And so in step 1, you can see step 2 rather, you can see I've eliminated y because I only have x. All right, so let me slow down. In step 2, I've eliminated z because I only have x. I did eliminate y also, but my goal was to eliminate z. So I did eliminate z. And then on step 1, I also eliminated z and came out with that equation. So those are the two equations that I have. We're going to pause this video here, and then I'll have another video that will pick up on step 4 that will start combining these, and we'll finish out this problem. So pause it, take a look at it, make sure you can follow it up to this point, and then once you understand up to this point, then we're ready to move on.